Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. I'm doing something I haven't done in a while, which is a post-commed video. The reason why is because for this red zone run against Zamasu with EZA Android 13, it just wasn't clicking. I tried a target Goku team so we could have a few big bad bosses units on the team. It just wasn't happening. I tried a few Android team runs. Unfortunately, there's only one unit of big bad bosses, so we're missing a huge stat boost on 13 for like the majority of the run. And even this run isn't the best, right? It's just not the best, but it shows the most and it shows enough compared to the other ones. Like, and there's been quite a few. So constantly saying, "You're right, guys, welcome back," it gets a little bit tiresome. Not only that as well, there's only so much, stuff is going to look new to me at this point. So I was like, let me just try and do the run. Whatever run looks the best, whatever run sticks, we'll go with it. And this is exactly the one that does that. So in terms of 13, what I said in terms of team and team build is very apparent. And it's more so here than it was against Sinshan Run. And that's two things. Number one, which is how you build the team. Very simple lineup. In terms of the team build, you do want a few big bad bosses units on the team. However, when it comes to making a target Goku team or even a movie boss team, because a lot of them kind of cross over a lot of like the top units, they're not on that level anymore. Like, don't get me wrong, LR Final Form Caller, still a very good unit, could actually probably do some damage, especially against Zamasu's final phase. But the bit before that, he's taken like almost 200k on basics, at least minors with like a dupe or two. Golden Frieza's fine. By the time you get to Fusion Zamasu's final phase, most of his damage reduction is gone, if not all, depending on how long it takes. Because there's a lot of units that need to build up and they take a little bit too long to build up because they're aged at this point. Because of that, you're taking a little bit too long in Zamasu's first phase, which means you're not doing enough damage, which means you're basically doing niche. And you can't get into the second phase quick enough. That then affects the rest of the units like a domino effect. Then, as of the rest of the units, while they're still pretty good units, they're just not on that level, and the team is just a little bit too old at this point and just needs a buff. The same can be said of the Androids category team. The only thing with the Android category team is a lot of the Android units do not have big bad bosses, which means Android 13 is missing out on a massive attack and defense boost, which only Cell is giving him. And I thought, let me give him the best possible chance. So I done Cell as the lead, so he was on 200% lead and a 170 to get him the best possible team setup, but also have a unit of big bad bosses. And even then, because there's only one of them, he hardly got it. So there was that. So unfortunately on an Android's team, while it may be the stronger category out of the two, maybe three categories you can run 13 on right now, it kind of is his best setup in terms of overall team build, because it's recently got boosted with EZAs this year, newer units, 21 being one of them. But, mainly EZAs and new units, which of course Target Goku kind of has, because they kind of joined, and Movie Bosses hasn't. And then, on the other hand, as I said, hardly any Android units whatsoever have big bad bosses. And the one that does, he's not bad here, but again, he's at a point where he's not one of the top elite units in the game that can handle Zamasu like that. And while you have a few units on the team that aren't on that level, it makes it very difficult to kind of get through a run. I don't even need to beat the run. I don't even need to win. I just need Android 13 to show off as much as possible, which there's only so much I can do with that because of the current team build. So both categories, or a couple categories you can run 13 on, they need a little bit of a pick-me-up. Androids has actually got that recently, but it still needs a bit more. So it kind of holds 13 back. It's the same with the EZA AGL Androids. Because of the team build situation, it kind of holds them back a bit. So while Android 13 is actually a really good EZA, he's pretty decent. He's a lot better than I thought he was going to be, but he's a decent EZA. He's not insane or anything, but he's a decent EZA, but he's only going to be able to do so much anyway because of his capabilities. But then he's only going to be able to do so much because of the team build situation, because it still needs a little bit of help. So in terms of the first phase, you're always using items as it is. He's tanking really well over Whis. Like mine and the friend one more so because it has an extra dupe, but mine one specifically, tanking really well with Whis active. You're typically always using items there anyway. The AoEs with an item, he's fine. Perfect. You need that because you need as many units on the team as possible where those AoEs aren't doing too much damage, so you can maintain as much HP going into the final phase as possible. Not only that as well, you actually get an additional super this time around, which hasn't happened whatsoever with him, but it is nice. Unfortunately though, you don't get to stack him that much because of how short Zamasu is for a stage, for an event. You don't get to stack him that much, and with him having an incredibly restrictive additional super by facing a Goku enemy and not having any additionals outside of the dupe system, which again for me has hardly popped, and it means you're only getting one extra, his defense is only going to go so far. And as I've already said against Sin, any normal in the game, he should pretty much be fine. But because he transforms at turn 5 no matter what, and how short Zamasu is and how many finite appearances he's going to make, and again especially only having the possibility of one additional super if you have dupes, his defense is only going to go so far. So the first phase, he's fine. Completely fine, especially if you get a stack in, a super in, he's fine. But regardless, because you always have a Whis active, on a normal, he's taking double digits. Of course, the AoEs do the same amount of damage as normals, he's still fine. I think if he was to take a normal, actually no, with a normal against Zamasu's first phase, he might take a little bit at first, but off a couple stacks, he's fine. But again, because you are forced to transform on turn 5, he's only going to stack so much by the time you get to the final phase. So that 750k basic that Fusion Zamasu's doing in the second phase is doing a little bit too much. It's doing a little bit too much. Now, if he had an additional in his passive that wasn't tied to such a strict condition, and you could potentially super attack 3 times in one turn, or more often super attack twice rather than just relying on the potential system, he will probably be in a better spot. Now, if he did get to stack up as much as possible, there's no doubt he'll probably tank Fusion Zamasu's second phase normals completely fine, and definitely with an item active. One thing that is 100% true is the top enemies in the game with their super attacks, whether that is Sin, whether that will eventually be a Mega on Global sometime soon, but definitely Fusion Zamasu, even though he doesn't take one, he doesn't have enough sheer defense to be able to tank a super. Maybe with an item active with a ton of health, like full health, full 200% lead, he'll take a ton of damage, but you'll survive, which is not bad. But he can't tank their supers, which not every unit in the game has to do as long as they perform well. But again, because of the whole team situation, 180k there, if you wonder why I put him in SWAT on, he doesn't get any extra defense anyway on super, so he might have been missing the extra attack and defense in his passive, that's fine. But the team build right now is really holding him back. But as a slot 3 unit, he's amazing, solid EZA, but he can easily be caught. But I'll see you in the next one, guys. Take care, have a good rest of your day, have a good Christmas, and post.